All right, everybody. On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, the Avs and Stars face off in the preseason with a pretty entertaining overtime period that saw Oscar Olausson pot the winner. We'll talk about that and a season preview for Cale Makar. We have a grand total of 0 segments dedicated to Taylor Swift. You're not going to find that here. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Mainly because we just don't care. Welcome, everybody, to Locked On Avalanche. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. Make sure to follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. And make sure to subscribe to our subtext as well. Link to that is in the show notes below. And when you do, chat with Kyle and I one-on-one, and we'll read some of those Cale Makar previews, what people have to say over on subtext. We'll get to those a little bit later, sir. And we're also going to talk about some decisions. This is going to be tough for Jared Bednar and the coaching staff because we were always thinking like, oh, there's like one spot available, which seems to be the case. And we both had our who we thought was kind of pretty much penciled in, but I don't know right now. I think things are blown up. We'll get to that in a little bit. I just want to talk about the game as a whole to start here. And it was an entertaining one, Avalanche and Stars. This is the first game you saw some bigger stars from the Avalanche. I mean, you've seen Drouin before, but now he was with his supposed line mates with Mikko Rantanen and Nathan MacKinnon. You got Devon Taves. You got Sammy G. Alexander Georgiev was in goal. I mean, you had a good amount of Avs players, which was the complete opposite of the one that they just played against in Minnesota. But overall, it ends in overtime. They give up a 3-1 lead with the goalie pulled for Dallas. Goes to overtime. Exciting, entertaining overtime period. Tons and tons of back and forth. That's what overtime was designed for. The 3-on-3 overtime was designed for. And then you had a beautiful drop pass between the legs from Drouin, which he's known for, his passing right to Oscar Olausson, who kind of takes it off to the left-hand side. And he goes high side, far side, I believe that was, on the Dallas Stars goalie wearing the Seattle Kraken mask. I love preseason hockey.
It's awesome. That was Christopher Gibson, I believe it was.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it was Gibson. Yep.
And something that I think that gets lost with that goal and Drouin's pass. If you go back and watch that pass one more time, Drouin takes 2 of those defenders with him.
And when it's overtime, that's a big deal.
That's a really, really big deal. And the pass was beautiful, and your eyes just kind of float with the puck and watch the shot take place. But I don't want that to get lost with Drouin continuing to play the play and taking those defenders out of that shot and allowing that shot to happen. And that circles back to one of the big takeaways in this is kind of getting, like you mentioned, a glimpse of what that top line might look like with Drouin, Rantanen, and Nathan MacKinnon. And my goodness, I think we could be in for a treat.
Yeah, I think they looked good overall, and those guys didn't play, they were not leading the Avs in ice time, which you don't really expect them to. Like, they were up there, but they didn't have 20 plus while everybody else was, in the teens. This is for, to get those guys some reps, obviously, but this is for, the younger guys, like trying to make this squad. And that's, you're not going to overwork those guys, but from what you got from that top line, yeah, I think you're pretty excited of what they can do. and you saw it in multiple occasions, including the power play.
And I'm glad you mentioned that power play. Power play looks good, especially the one that Taser scored on. That's what you want to see. That's beautiful, and that's something you can build on preseason. It's wonderful. But without that top line and the star power, something else that really stood out to me that kind of went away towards the end. Boy, the face-offs look good.
I don't have the stats up.
They
I didn't even bother,
ended up,
but what's
they
percentage?
ended up losing 33-29 on the face-offs. But
Mhm.
boy, they're winning them when they matter, and that was something we
That's the
talked
thing.
about so
Yeah.
many times last year. That you almost just gave up and went into a defensive mentality so many times last year. Just
Mhm.
seeing them be so assertive and dominant on the faceoffs, it was so refreshing to see
Yeah.
all game long, and that's something that you really want to see them build on, especially in the regular season. And while you're frozen, but no, and it's not just
All right, sorry. Yeah, so what you said is so true. It's situational, because last year you just knew when they needed a big draw win, it wasn't coming.
Yeah.
And I know it's just the preseason, but it's looked so much better. So you feel, those those first power play face-offs, like, you want to win those. You don't
Yes.
want to lose that where the puck goes. That's just 10, 12 seconds that are gone that you could have set up a play. And look what happened in the one with Taves. Like, that was a really quick goal that they got. That doesn't happen if you lose the draw and it's sent the other way. So it's a big deal. I know, like I said, it's situational. So it's not like you just have to be better. You have to be better in the face-off, Dom. Sorry, you cannot be as bad as they have been. And I think that was part of the decision making and going to get the guys that they did with Colton and Johansson. And MacKinnon's got to be better in that aspect, obviously. So I think you're going to see an improvement there. The Drouin thing, I'm so glad he got like the winning assist on that, because about a minute earlier, one of the kind of boneheaded plays, and I think it was Lekkonen who he just slammed into, which could have been disaster. I mean, that's you don't want to see that anyway. But in overtime, that could have been disastrous, because that could have led to the game winner. But he kind of righted himself and got an assist for it, which is good.
No, many would say he's in midseason form.
So other guys that looked good, kind of, the big names thought they played great, and it was noticeable when they're out there, right? When MacKinnon was out there flying around, it was noticeable. For the other guys, I continue to be impressed with Riley Tufte. He had another goal early on, so he's playing very well. I think Kiviranta continues to look pretty good and play very well. I think he's got a future, but right now Sam Malinsky is just struggling.
Thank you. Yeah, I completely agree with you there.
Yeah, it's just like it's another game where he does some good things and then some bad things, and he did, like, the bad things are glaring, where he just doesn't have enough, like, oomph on a pass, and it rolls off his blade, or he just makes a bad turnover. And then you see some of what he could do. He's got the potential with a nice pass here and there, or even a solid shot on net. But I just think the tough plays are outweighing the good, and that's not going to fly right now with where the Avalanche are at. He wasn't going to be on the defensive pairing to begin with, right? We're not saying that, but you wanted him to be like to kind of show what he can do in case of, we need the call up, and he still might be that guy. You never know, but I think he's just struggling game in and game out right now.
And what it screams to me is he's not ready for the NHL game. It feels like the game is too much and too fast for him, and he's having to overcompensate, which ends up, like in that first game, ends up in the penalty box 3 times. And now it just feels like he's getting beat trying to adjust to not be so physical and make those boneheaded plays. Feels like he's trying to overcompensate for the speed of the game, and he's just not there yet. It's not so much a glaring thing. I just feel like he's not ready. Just a little bit more AHL time,
Yeah.
we might be okay, but he's not there yet.
Which is okay. I mean, this is his first go at it, right? So there is going to be some adjustment period. It's not where I'm saying like get rid of the guy. No, I'm nowhere near that. It's just it's tough sometimes for these guys. Even though he played college all 4 years, it's a different level,
Yep.
clearly. So I like the good that I see. And the bad, I think you're right. I think it's just just trying maybe a little bit too hard, or the panic comes into play really quick if he just fumbles the puck for a split second because it's such a faster level. He's thinking, I got to do something with this immediately, and he screws things up. So I think just getting to the AHL level, getting comfortable there, only benefits him. So yeah, go ahead. What are you say?
No, it's when we're talking about Cale Makar and Devon Toews, like Devon Toews, like the hockey IQ decisions.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you make when you're in front of the game and you can control the game. Malinsky is making reactionary decisions, and it's fight or flight, and it's just the wrong decision most of the time. So he needs to get up to the speed of the game to take advantage of hockey IQ decisions.
All right, well, let's talk about some of these decisions that Jared Bednar needs to make, because they're not making life difficult. They're making life difficult for him. They're not making it easy for him right now with these last couple slots that need to get filled. What do we think is going to happen? We'll talk about that next. But first, we're going to talk about eBay Motors. You got passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, that just sums up Nathan MacKinnon. Speed, power, and style. eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Motors Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit every time, or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash, Kyle. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, so only 2 more games to go for the Avalanche before the meaningful games start. When we kind of were predicting lines, I think we were all in agreement that, and this comes after the Tatar signing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's your fourth line. Who's on that line? And you're pretty confident Logan O'Connor is going to be there, who I just thought was invisible during this preseason game. For a minute, I forgot he was even on the ice. Which is fine. I don't think he's really, it's him, Cogliano when he's healthy, and then who's your center? And I think going into this preseason, we were like, well, it's Ben Myers. I am not sold he has that spot right now, Kyle.
I'm not either.
I was wanting to see a lot out of Ben Myers. And while I don't think he's been bad, I think there's other guys who've been better.
Yep.
And who have kind of earned that last spot. Again, I don't think Ben Myers is playing terrible, but I think that there's some guys that are really putting forth the effort, that if I know Jared Bednar is going to give those guys the look before Ben Myers.
You know how we were touting how great that third line's going to look?
Yeah.
Colton and both of the Devils on both sides. I think I know how this fourth line's shaping up, and we'll find out Tuesday and Thursday with our last 2 preseason games. But I have a feeling that fourth line is going to be spelt SSON on 2 of them, and Tufte in the middle.
See, but that's my problem, because I like what Riley Tufte's doing better than anybody else on the team in his, where he sits, right? And the game that we couldn't watch in Minnesota, apparently they tried him at center, and it didn't really go so swimmingly. So this is where it comes, this is where it could get a little difficult, because, I mean, I think he can play the center position, but I don't know if he's comfortable doing it with the style of play that the Avalanche have. I don't see him as a play driver. I don't see him as that. And I see him as like he does a lot of good like grunt work and cleaning up like a lot of stuff. Like I see him doing that. Right place, right time. Do I see him as a centerman driving plays? No. And I think that might be the not want to say downfall for him, but if like where do you put him? Like if I'm not going to put him at the center position, where do I put him? Well, he's not going on Logan O'Connor's wing, and he's not going to take Andrew Cogliano. So I kind of feel like he's in a tough spot right now because there's nowhere to put him if you want him to play on the wing.
Well, with what he's been doing this preseason, well, I mean, what's it going to hurt in that LA King game? If he struggles at center, throw him out left wing.
And then do what?
Olofsson as a center.
See, but but I know, but I mean, are you saying like that like Cogliano's not starting the season?
Why would you?
I mean, if he's ready to go, I think he's going to go.
I say give him bench him. I say give him the time.
No, I think they will. But if he's not ready to go, then no. I think you put Tufte at a wing spot. I would put Olofsson or Kiviranta at a center spot. And then you have Logan O'Connor on your other wing. I just think those guys are outplaying Ben Meyers right now.
And I think LOC is starting to, unless he starts to show up a little bit,
He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
He needs to step up.
But this is not like they know what they're getting from him. Like he's not in a position where they're concerned about Logan O'Connor in the preseason. They're not. He's not going anywhere.
Now, if you remember, going back to our grades, we know what LOC can be.
Right. I don't think they're going to demote him based on his performance in the preseason.
Now
they will address him and how he's doing based on regular season games, not preseason games. He's earned that right, at least.
And the term demotion is kind of like we're eternally banishing them to the AHL or a different roster entirely, which is not entirely true. We still have the 2 games to shape it up, and you never know what's going to happen in those last 2 games.
Yeah.
But that if you're going off sole performance right now, it's going to be hard to say these guys have not played their way. You saw how Tufte was celebrating after that goal. Yeah. That is hunger. We're waiting on guys like LOC, and like I know you're kind of high on Kiviranta, but I still would like to see just a little bit more from him because
I thought he looked good, man. I thought he looked good. I thought Olofsson looked good. I thought Ivan looked good.
Face-off machine.
Yeah, man. Like I just feel like you could even throw him into, but I think his natural position is a wing. I don't think his natural position. I don't know. But I don't know. Like, and here's the other part. Like, if you don't put Tufte on, on the opening night roster, you have to put him on waivers.
Yeah.
And the way that he's performed, someone might scoop him up. So I don't know. Like this is tough. This is going to be really tough for the Avalanche to make some of these decisions. But the focus here for me is Ben Meyers, and I really like Ben Meyers. And you see the speed, but it's as soon as he defenders kind of close in on him, he doesn't have the capability to get past them or make some sort of move where he's even setting up a line mate where he can find them, crashing or something like that. It's just he'll get the puck in the neutral zone, he'll go into the offensive zone and lose the puck over and over and over and over again. I would almost rather see him at a wing position where he can maybe benefit off of kind of like how Riley Tufte is doing this, just right place, right time, because for whatever reason, Ben Meyers just cannot drive plays.
Yeah, and it's almost like a system overload. It's like Doctor Strange. You can see all the timelines at once. And I feel like it kind of overloads Ben Meyers at times where he just kind of swallows the puck and then loses it.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. Yeah.
And when it comes to putting players on waivers, Kiviranta is still a PTO.
So that comes into play with it, I believe. Like if he signs, I don't think I got to look it up because that's a weird thing with a PTO where I don't know. I'll look it up when we're done here, but because I think if he like accepts that PTO, I think they can just put him right down in the AHL because nobody wanted him to begin with. So I don't think you sign that guy to a PTO, and then if he doesn't make your opening squad, I don't think you release him to waivers. I almost certain of that, but
Yeah, and that's how I'm
correct me if
looking at,
I'm wrong in the comment section, please.
and that's how I'm looking at like when their play style. Like you're on
Mhm.
PTO, you're not committed to a deal. Like
No,
at any time, like we could say, hey, LOC, Kiviranta, like you
yeah,
could commit
because
to LOC and let Kiviranta go prove it somewhere else because you know what you have here, and this is just not enough when it comes to the balance and the
yeah,
sum.
because you could say to him like, "Hey, we want you to sign the PTO or the contract, but you're not going to be with us on the Avalanche. Like, for you, we'll have to send you down." He could say, "I'm pretty confident in how my preseason went, and somebody else saw that and picked me up. I don't want to sign that." And then he's gone and he can
Yep.
go wherever. So I do, man. I if I were to predict it right now, and Cogliano is not starting opening day because he's still not 100%. It's Logan O'Connor for sure. I think it's Riley Tufte, and I think it's Kiviranta, if you ask me. I
Hmm.
think that's my fourth line for opening night. I don't know.
I would agree with Tufte, LOC, and I would do anybody with the last four letters is SSON.
One of those two. And yeah, I mean, we're talking Oscar Olausen, like he's had a good preseason. He still does some things where you're like, just a little bit more down there, man. Just a little bit more. It's like if the puck stays on his stick and he can fire it, it's NHL level. But there was a lot of times where that puck just rolls off his stick, and it's almost like a wide receiver not like looking the ball into like his hands. He's not looking; he's looking elsewhere, and he'll whiff on a puck. And he did a couple times, and he overran the puck on. He was the drop back. He was the slingshot on the power play too, and completely overran the puck. He went back and got it, but it's just it's like an air ball.
And quickly to finish it out on Kiviranta, with that PTO, it's not like the Avalanche have a lot of money to commit to that when
No,
we're talking about who's fitting on that fourth line.
yeah,
You're also going to have to commit money to Kiviranta to be on that opening night roster.
you do, but I think they can work that out because it's not going to be too much. So we shall see. Comment away, please, on that. Would love to know people's thoughts on what this fourth line is looking like right now. So I'm sure we'll see some more cuts and things like that. That'll kind of give us a clearer picture here in the near future. All right, let's hear from AG1, and then we're going to get into Cale Makar. But AG1, it's our next partner. It's a daily foundational nutritional supplement that supplements or supports whole body health. Kyle and I drink this stuff daily. We had some, I know I did. Well, I'm older than Kyle, and I don't like saying that all the time, but I am. It's just the reality of the situation. And you don't want the bubble guts when you yeah, there it is, that wonderful coffee can of AG1. And this stuff helps with that. This stuff just genuinely just makes you feel better. You just put a scoop of it in your morning water or whenever else throughout the day if you want to. But I do, and I think Kyle does too. In the morning, we take it, and it just gets your day going, and you feel good. You just feel good from taking this stuff. Like we said, it's a foundational nutritional supplement that delivers comprehensive nutrients to support the whole body health, and it replaces your multivitamin, probiotic, and more in one simple drinkable habit. It helps you build your health, and foundation is first. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then you have got to try AG1, and you get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. So go to drinkag1.com/NHL network. That's drinkag and the number 1.com/NHL network. Check it out. You'll thank us later, and so will your gut. All right. Season preview time. We're kind of making our way through these, and Cale Makar is up. this is one of those where it's just like, we know we have an all-world guy here. We don't need to really talk about what he's done in the past, but I will bring up his stats from last year just because. And more or less like what to expect this year from him. Because he's already kind of feeling aches and pains, which doesn't make you feel good as an Avalanche fan, but he is practicing. He hasn't obviously played in anything preseason wise. But I think, once the regular season comes around, he'll be good to go. And you're just expecting another otherworldly season from him. Why would you not?
Yeah, and of course it's concerning. You hear
Yeah.
the injury thing going into the year, and then you're like, is this going to be the narrative all year? And then panic sets in. Is this going to be the what Cale Makar would have been if he didn't have to struggle with this?
Yeah.
No, but it's one of those that you would like to see Cale Makar. We don't want to see him play otherworldly because guess what? He has the forwards in front of him now where he doesn't have to. He could just settle in, do Cale Makar things,
Right.
and you don't have to push it like you did last year just to survive and win games. I would like to see Cale Makar in a more controlled kind of.
I don't think that's him.
It's,
I don't
well,
think like
especially
he is
coming off the injury. I don't want to
Yeah.
see him just like full of that vim and vigor and full of cookies on the bench and then just like be right back on the injured reserve. Like you kind of want to see him take it easy and settle in.
Well, I do want to see him play less minutes per game. I'll say
Yes.
that. Like, I don't want to see him
100%.
playing 28, 29 minutes per game. That's just, I know he can do it now because, he's in the best shape of his life. And, he's only 25 years old, 24 years old. But you're putting a lot of mileage on that car. And he's going to be going to eBay Motors pretty soon to,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just, you don't want the burnout to come a lot earlier than it should. So I would just like, he's going to play a ton of minutes, right? It's not like I want him to go down to like 20 a game. He's going to be in like the 24, 25 range. And I'm saying, that the difference between 25 and 29 is a lot, especially, in the NHL. That's just doing that game after game is taxing. So it's the one area where I like to see things toned down. Other than that, when he's out there, he's not stopping. Like he is going to want to put his stamp on every single shift that he's out there, and he want to be the best player on the ice when he is out there. So, but I think he's smart. He's not going to put himself in a situation where he wants to hurt himself. Injuries happen to anybody. So I don't think you can play with that in mind of like, oh, I hope I don't get hurt this shit. No, you just go out, do your job. For him, he does it better than anybody else in the league, and you just play your game. I don't think you shouldn't prevent him from doing what he knows how to do best just because you're afraid he might get injured.
Yeah, and I'm saying that solely because I'm talking to Cale Makar right now. I kind of hope he's listening right now. Cale, how's it going? But you don't have to play like you did last year out of survival. You're not games don't hang in the balance on you this year. We just need you to come in and be Cale Makar. You don't have to do the heroics to win it. Like it's a different mentality going into this year. We just spent the whole first segment talking about the fourth line for crying out loud. Like this team is okay. We just need you to go in and be Cale Makar, not the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, I get that. And you would think like if they can stay healthy, it's pretty, you should have 4 pretty good lines. So you don't want, it's hockey, right? There's games where it's going to be close. So if it comes down to, the final few minutes of the game, then you're going to be out there and you're the one that's going to want to step up and make the play. But you have the team in front of you to, let's hope it doesn't get to that so many times. You know what I mean? I get what you're saying with that.
You could be more, you could pick and choose your moments more, and it's not all on you. You could be more selective, and you could get the points, you can get the goals, you get the assists. It's not all on you. So you could be more selective and pace yourself for the full 82 and keep yourself healthy in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. So last year, those injuries came into play, only 60 games, but he had 17 goals and 49 points for 66 points. Was a Norris Trophy finalist, which I think surprised some people. But you look at those numbers, if you expand those out to a full season, he's right up there with the top guys. So I think, people are expecting great things from him again this season. We'll see how that goes. Over on Subtext, kind of the feeling is the same. This is once again from Madame Battle Axe. She says Cale Makar for president. Yeah, absolutely. She goes, I can see him passing last year's 17 goals and his 60 points. She thinks 75 points. I think that's a little low. Miss Battle Axe. I think 75 is a little low. He's going to be in the 90s.
Depending. It's health depending. So
it is.
Battle Axe might be onto something when it's all said and done.
But she thinks 25 goals. I think that, he could be there. Yeah. But I think I would expect them to be in the 90s somewhere. Let's see. I think so. Health. This is from. Let me see. This one's from. It's from Easton. Health permitting, he's got 25 goals as well, but he's got 76 assists. That's 101 points total. And he also said, he goes, I think he wins the Hart and he wins the Norris. That'll be interesting because if people want to give him the Hart, would they also give him the Norris? I don't know.
Oh, Nathan MacKinnon will be
livid. Know. What do you think? We haven't done Nathan MacKinnon yet, but I think he's going to be.
If Cale Makar gets the Hart, and Nathan MacKinnon's just kind of like,
okay. But I wonder if they give the defenseman the Hart, like would they give the Norris to somebody else? They're just like, no, you got the award that's maybe like one up from the Norris. We're not going to give you both. Of those.
That's how Roman Josi gives it.
It's interesting. This one's from Vargar. Makar 30 goals. He agrees 101 points as well, but he thinks he misses 10 games. 72 games. He thinks that puts him second on the team in scoring behind Mikko. So Mikko's going to lead the team. Makar is going to be on second with 101 points. So he doesn't think McKinnon's even going to get 100 points.
That's again another when we get to that season preview, if he could do the full 82.
Mm-hmm. So those are the three we got there from people on Subtext. So man, if he doesn't hit 100, I think he's going to be darn close. I think he's going to be above 95 this year, if you ask me.
Oh, what if he goes 99 into game 82? That's going to be so much fun.
And the last game of the year, that's against Edmonton. Mm-hmm. So if he's at 99 and they're going into that game and that game is meaningful, he's getting 100. He's absolutely getting 100. That is going to be like the Alex Ovechkin, get the hat trick to get the 800th goal. Like he's going to go off. And because that's where you want, your stars. That's the memorable moments. If the game is meaningful, if it's not meaningful, he's going to be out there for, 10 minutes and who cares? So we shall see. And the last thing that I want to bring up, it's also Cale Makar related. If you follow us on social media, you saw this. The NHL posted a very odd graphic of Cale Makar and Mo Seider from the Detroit Red Wings. And it said 9 days till puck drop. And you see this a lot on social media where people will say, oh, I'll use Cale Makar, like 8 days until puck drop, and they'll put Cale Makar out because he's number 8. The problem with the graphic is the Red Wings don't play in 9 days. The Avalanche don't play in 9 days. And Cale Makar is not number 9. Mo Seider is not number 9. And these two teams aren't even playing each other when they do play their first game. Like, it's the most confusing graphic I think I've ever seen. They put up 9 days until puck drop, and they put two players up of guys that are playing for teams that are not playing in 9 days and not against each other and don't wear number 9.
And neither one of their numbers, there's no math you could do to have 9 be the outcome.
Come up with 9.
No addition, subtraction, division, none.
It's Gary Bettman math for you. I saw it and I'm like, I'm trying to figure out where they were going with it. None of it makes sense to me. So I thought it was hysterical. We'll end with that.
Yeah, if you ever got the chance to go check it out, please.
It's pretty funny.
Try and find the meaning behind it.
It's pretty funny. I thought and they're getting ripped for it. I thought it was going to get taken down. Oh no, it's still up there. They're riding with this one. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you everyone for tuning in and making it your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. Comment away in the comment section for anything that we talked about here on today's episode, and definitely subscribe to our subtext so you can get your season preview and into the season when we do game predictions and analysis after the game. We're going to take them from subtext as well. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Really, really appreciate it. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, I am Chris Maselli, and this is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.